And our last video in the effective instructional strategies PowerPoint is on assessment. So this will be a quick video. So once we have worked through our engagement, activating prior knowledge, direct instruction, guided practice, independent practice, we've considered grouping, context, etc., reteaching, extension, child initiated, teacher initiated. We have looked at all of these different pieces of our lesson planning process. We need to go back in every lesson. We need to go back to those original objectives and determine if we met those objectives, if our students met those objectives. Did they master the content or the skills that we were trying to teach in this lesson? So that's where assessment comes in. What are we going to do to ensure or find out whether or not our students mastered the content? So assessment doesn't mean test. So you don't give them a test at the end of every single lesson. But as we talked about for activating prior knowledge, when you do a KWL chart, the L part, what did you learn, could be a simple assessment that you do at the end of a lesson. It could be exit tickets. It could be coming back in large group and reviewing what you did. It could be a group, some type of grouping project that you do. When the students are working on their independent practice, it could be when you're walking around the room and doing check-ins with the students to see if they master the content or see where they are and kind of gauge the achievement or how well they mastered or did on that particular objective. Do they have those skills where you can move on to the next, or do you need to go back as a group and reteach that concept? So that's what we're talking about here when we talk about assessment. And it all comes through with this planning your lesson plans, instructing and looking at those effective instructional strategies that we just talked about, and then going back and seeing where students are at the end of that lesson or the end of that instruction, providing feedback to the students and finding out where they are so you can go back and plan your next lesson. So assessment is one of the components of an effective cycle of learning or cycle of teaching. And we want to do that at the end of our lessons to know where to go next. Now, does that mean that you have to plan every lesson day by day? No, you can have your lesson plans for the week and know where you're going, but you might need to revise that based on the assessment for any given lesson on any given day. So you can have a plan for what you're going to do, but don't stay where you rigid in that whatever you write at the beginning of the week, whatever your lesson plans are, that's the way they are, period. That's not what you want to do. You want to use the assessment that you do at the end of your lessons to see whether or not students have that context or have that content, and use that to inform your instruction for the next lesson, whether it's the next lesson in the day or the next lesson the following day, and make some adjustments as necessary. Maybe you did a whole group lesson and it didn't work as a whole group lesson, so maybe the next day you need to change and do small groups. Or maybe the students got a piece of the material but not all of it, or maybe they just need a full reteaching. Those are the kinds of things that you're going to take away from that lesson by lesson assessment to know what to do the following day or in subsequent lessons. So assessment is truly a key piece of the effective instructional strategies that we use when we're lesson planning. So we want to make sure there's some type, we've thought about assessment for all of our lesson plans. So I think that's about it. There are some more slides for you to look at on the PowerPoint, but we're going to stop as far as the videos. We're going to stop here. Again, think about each of these components, each of these instructional strategies as you think about lesson planning as a whole and how they fit into all of your lesson plans. Thank you for listening.